There's no such thing as paying down the debt.
No, we can't.
People don't understand that a large portion of the national debt's owed to itself, to its own people. And it's always going to increase because the system itself is a Ponzi scheme where basically we borrow from ourselves in the future over and over and over again forever. Mm-hmm. It works when you have all the guns. Mm-hmm. And that's why the U.S. government doesn't like it when, regular people start Ponzi schemes.
Well, and now the Chinese are looking at, they've wanted to flip the currency to their own for a long time.
It's happening. I think Saudi Arabia is doing it.
And look at what they did. China is pushing us aside as the world's only superpower. And it's happening because we look like punks. We've always been vulnerable, but we look strong. Trump, crazy as he was, nobody wanted to mess with him. Nobody wanted to take the consequences of what he would do. Nobody's scared of Biden. The Iranians and the Saudis just signed a deal brokered by the Chinese.
Yeah.
So our major global enemy brokers a deal between the largest state sponsor of terrorism and a former ally of ours 3 years after we were making deals in the Middle East to bring Gulf Arab states and Israel together. Well, we have lost our place.
What's the answer? More international war, more conflict, more intervention?
That seems to be where the Biden administration wants to go. They seem to be doing everything they can to push us into World War III. I don't know if it's because they think it'll help the defense stocks or if they just don't know how to control it.
Because they want a unipolar world where the U.S. controls the reserve currency. And if we lose that unipolar position, it becomes multipolar with China as it is, then the U.S. dollar becomes worthless and the U.S. manufactures nothing. So we become a poor nation overnight.
And the Chinese are globalists, just not the way that we talk about globalism. They're globalists as in they want to control the globe. And if we lose to them, and right now they're going to broker a deal between the Russians and the Ukrainians, I predict, in the next 3 to 6 months. They're going to be the ones who make that deal, not us, because Biden and his crew can't stop pushing. All right, they want that war because that's what makes them feel strong. That's what they're doing, like you said, to maintain our position, and they're incompetent at it. That's the problem.
If the U.S. falls from the holder of the reserve currency, then the yuan just becomes the reserve currency, and then it's China.
And then we're screwed.
I mean, so it really does feel in a lot of ways like I think Donald Trump understood this, and his view of the world was the U.S. will not be able to maintain this position. China is growing too fast. We need to shore up our borders. We need to bring back manufacturing, build up our economy, and get ready. Otherwise, it'll be a hard fall. And the establishment uniparty deep state said, no, we just need to blow up more people and just keep dropping bombs until they learn they can't screw with us and the dollar is the reserve currency. I think Trump was right. They can't stop China's growth.
No, well, I don't know. China may stop its own growth. They're a bit of a Potemkin economy. They've got a lot of stuff behind the scenes that is ugly, and I think they're not in a position to capitalize.
Except their authoritarian structure allows them to rapidly shift priorities, steal any resource they want on a moment's notice. It's much more difficult for the U.S., but the U.S. still does do it. It's not like the will of the people really matters to the U.S. government for the most part.